Oh, it's up now. Just got a notification. There we are.
Notifications. I was going to say something. There we go. Mm,
There it is.
yeah, yeah. Oh boy, put it on social medias. Oh, yeah. You know what? Another big thing I didn't put it on here to talk about on the show. I feel like we missed the boat a little bit, but that the dating thing where the girl that got mad that the guy took her to
The Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory.
That is. It was his car. But you could tell, like he kind of looked like a scrub for real, though. So she had no genuine interest in him, and was just there.
That's just what it is.
Oh, easily. She had no. That's the thing. If a
Or
girl,
is that what she is?
well, both. Like she got to act out in her worst way because she didn't care. Like she was only going to get a meal, and she was a little chunky, so that meal meant a lot to her. But he was like, you could just tell he was a scrub. She was not interested in him at all. I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, if a girl is interested, I mean, she'll be happy to split a bag of Funyuns with you.
That's been my experience.
That's universal, man. That's been my experience. Like you're some crazy outlier.
I just don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know?
No. I mean, like you're completely right, but it's just like it's just buffoonery. I don't know if and some of these things sometimes they seem so coerced, like it's like it's made up or whatever. I don't believe it. I don't think there are women out there that does these things.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't?
Cheesecake Factory, come on, man.
That's
Like I can
that's
understand
fine
if
dining in my book.
Yeah, I can understand if it's Arby's or like I said the other week as a joke, but and I keep ragging on Arby's because I don't know why they're still in business. But
They're actually good if you go in. You don't like Arby's, man?
I've never been in. I don't.
You've never had Arby's.
I don't think I'm gonna go. Start going.
They have mozzarella sticks.
Not a fan.
They have curly fries that are crisp, and then they have the roast beef
I
sandwich.
like curly. I'm not a roast beef guy.
I don't know, man.
Curly fries?
I'm not a huge roast beef, but the curly fries are fantastic. Yeah, I mean Arby's is.
But like.
If you go in, it's not bad.
Or McDonald's, like any.
Hey, sacred ground. Stand down, my friend.
I was saying anything. He said my boy was respecting himself. He wasn't putting up with that shit. Philly. Is that Josh?
Yeah,
that is Josh.
That's three ball Josh.
Philly, man. Yeah, he said, yeah. I guess, man. He said my boy, he wasn't putting up with that shit. I definitely wouldn't put up with that shit.
No.
Like if it was me, yeah.
You deserve to be
can Uber
physically removed from the car and just left on the side of the road to be on your own.
Yeah.
You needed the future treatment at that point.
Like I'm not gonna oh, you need a better place? Let's go to fucking Baziano's or something.
What you would hope, and obviously it didn't happen, is you would have hoped at some phase of the chatting you would have picked up that this is what this girl is about before actually getting her in the car and setting out for the Cheesecake Factory.
Facts.
I mean, that's the thing, man. You just do not want to be in that position with her.
No, you don't at all.
But yeah, that's outrageous. But I also think, I do think that there are women, and she's probably, tries to be a little bit of a social media person and knows that she's going to create viral content with this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. Now, the funny thing is she probably doesn't. Here's the interesting thing. Does she realize how bad she looks in that situation, or does she somehow think that she looks good? Not physical appearance.
No.
Just
It's just saying no.
your behavior.
Yeah, she probably thinks. Yeah, she probably thinks like, hey, I'm gonna put this out. I'm gonna put a stop to this. I need better treatment. I need guys to understand what it take me, and that's probably where our mind frame is at.
Oh yeah, for sure. So she thought that was like a big win, and most of the world's looking at her like, you're a goddamn self-entitled idiot.
Well, most women are like, I can only get Cheesecake Factory on anniversaries and birthdays. You're getting on a random Wednesday night. I mean,
what are you complaining about?
What are you complaining about, man? Cheesecake Factory.
I got Subway last time. Uber Eats.
I couldn't even get a full sub. I mean, he gave me a 6-inch.
then he got half price when he bought his 12-inch.
Buy one, get one half off. Man. Seriously, man.
That's too funny.
Let's start the show, man. Let's get let's see here.
Clean. Come up. Right. All right, bitch, get your trap on. Punching the clock, lunch with a thought. Taking down has got my stomach in knots. What it's about? Fly pedals fall. You love me or not? Probably not. Gas pedal, run from the cops. Fuckers a stop. Bought a dirty gun with one in the top. Fuckers a op. I put your son Captain Crunch in the box. Dumping them out. I'm tax tone. Thugging it out. No hugging it out. Boy, this smoke thick enough to be plots. Jumping like stocks. Trap phone, jump hit the block. Touch you some guap. Me and Root like Quan Chi and Shana. Who wanna challenge me? Button ups and chinos. My nigga brought out the Spanish me. Link with Gene. We gon' touch a quarter bean handsomely. Super dynamite. Them brought out the killer cam of me. Rolex and jumpsuits like P. Diddy in the family. Your wife in here on coke singing Bubs in the vanity. In the hole for a barber, won't more raw for the family fee. Deeper than your untrained eye, punch ain't pop. I'm outside like unclaimed thoughts. Fuck fake props. Still a kill you for one can't block. Fuck they car. Let your daughter drive my shit, but your son can't rock. Be I rise cause the sun ain't stop. I stay high like unrained drops from underwater like fuck James Brock. SDS Express bus can't stop. What you mean, boy? Fuck they side. Hey, look, I'm Sylvester Stewart Stone mixed with Sylvester Stallone. Rambo with a banjo, braided up like Panko. Super dynamite animal, Street Shark, Camp Laszlo, Beast Wars, Kid Astro, retard, asshole. Clean. Trap. Right. Listen, me and lil' bro been on a lot of missions. Money to burn, money to blow. I like my dollars crispy. I told Unc don't hit my phone unless you buying 50. I cut a 28 with a 10 and then I punched out 6 quarters like $1.50. Worth for bricking these Versace sweats, I'm worth a split. Work a zip. If she fuck on me, this bitch gon' work a wrist. I buy a bag every time she bag to make it worth her wrist. Tennis bracelet if she interstated. Man, let's take this trip. None of these guns props for movies. Jump in my jacuzzi. I'ma leave your shit without no top with one up top your poofy like a cup without a koozie. Oh, it's pumping out a smoothie. I keep nothing on the back cause I can't bust inside a hoochie, man. Bet I'll pull up on him with the hand check. I'm from underwater. That's cause I ain't hit the land yet. Ain't kissed no sand yet. I need flow seats at Amway and swipe this Amex. I chunk the keys at Valet Park that land jet. I need fish scale. This shit got my ceiling fan wet. I drop every fucking week for niggas who ain't fans yet. Even when I stretch it, it's gonna slap like spandex. I need a 14-gram press. Nah, come here. Me and lil' bro been on a lot of missions. Money to burn, money to blow. I like my dollars crispy. Nah, come here. Hey. Ball in my court. It's vibes from the porch. I split a pie. Knives in a fork. You see plug in my eyes like the cork. I'm crying for remorse. My eyelids is sore. I'm trapping like the last dons in New York. I'm dying to contort. I twist a nigga's spine and get him scorched. If mileage is sport, 3 a.m. drives from the port. Eyes live in port and I lay it down. Eyes on the floor, my mind on the porch. With seats that give massages, of course. I'm slide Mickey Rourke. I could tell you lying in your voice. You slime with your boys. It ain't gonna do no time. You niggas moist. I never oink. Take the stand and smile when I point. That time in the joint. Hit my childish mind and some poise. I'm trying to rejoice. A split decision. Time every choice. I grind middle course. This fish scale. A line getting hoisted. It's lobster or oysters. They don't know your style until you boisterous. Denying hearing voices. You gonna lose your life to the coin flip. Dive into poison. I wash my sins. My mind been anointed. I'm feeling poignant. I'm piling these coins to leave it all on my little boy. Poor want that pond full of koi fish. Lawn looking gorgeous. Trap house on 5-level fortress. Bars on the doorshits. I can show you scars get the ointment. Know it's mine is George's. Ain't nowhere but up this bottom floor shit. We not the same. I heard you pimped your dog out of check. All about respect. I'm plugged. I got a small wide connect. Ball, but I'm stressed. It's no more sending calls I collect. No, God got my best. But this rod between my drawers and I switch.
Welcome back to On the Bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Alrighty, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. That was a little montage of Babe Bubs, straight from his IG page. Just a couple of freestyles, man. He's incredible.
He really is. The amount of stuff, the variety of stuff that he references is awesome. Like you literally got to pay close attention to it.
You do.
You know, and you just brought up one that we talked about this off air that I didn't catch, but it's like you almost get an education.
Yeah. The one line in the very first freestyle clip, when he says, I'm from underwater, like I'm underwater, like fuck James Brock. And I said it on the IG, a comment, I was like, man, nobody's going to get this fucking line. And James Brock is something from way back in the 1950s and 60s with black people in pools. And, of course, Underwater is Bay Bubs. That's like his brand. That's his clothing line, his clothing brand. So just to put that two together. And it's just, I asked him, I was like, how do you even fucking know about James Brock? It's like, way before your time, you're young, whatever. But, yes, once again, you're on the bench. So listen, Pick. I just came from Bethune-Cookman homecoming.
Yes, indeed.
I don't have any crazy stories for you
None?
this time around. But
wait, you spent the time in church,
I have to put that up top.
which means that there's something below the surface.
A little bit, a tiny
right.
bit there. Well, first of all, is you go out here and you see all of these people that you haven't seen in an incredibly long time. Of course, I keep in contact with my former roommates or whatever, but
right.
just as far as people from the school, you haven't seen these people in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate, when people come up and they automatically reference like on the bench, it's like, hey, man,
there we go.
Yeah, man, I love what you guys are doing on the bench. And it just reminds me, because we're in an era, man, of where a lot of people on social media and YouTube, you could pay for views, you could pay for likes and comments and things like that. And a lot of people do that. You know what I mean? And but just to see that ours are really like organic. So when we are on IG and we see whatever 1,000 likes or views or whatever, and YouTube a little less, but still hundreds of views or comments or whatever on certain clips, these are coming from real people,
Yeah.
And it's just really dope. And so it's just really like to appreciate anyone that takes the time out to watch whatever, a full show or a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, whenever you can. Really appreciate that, for real.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Now, while I'm there,
Did anybody look like exceptionally terrible?
Like
just man, you look 10 years older than the rest of us. Like, what's going on?
not necessarily older, but you have the people who put on tons of weight and things like that. But to be honest, we're not really thinking in that manner. It's so much love at homecoming.
Yeah.
And
Here I am trying to ruin it all.
you're either trying to get laid, or you're trying to just get drunk, or you're trying to just enjoy your time. Those are the three things.
Getting drunk's easy. You probably got to try to get laid. I mean, if you're stuck on trying to get drunk, you might be a retard.
And so that leads me to the to one of the things I put on the thing about how to get women or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm there, and the thing about, I guess I want to. It's not a Florida thing, because I know Atlanta and up north. So I have this friend Jim, right? So Jim is getting on me all weekend about the way I'm dressing. And first of all, when I was coming to homecoming, I took like maybe 2 to 3 minutes to pack. I just threw some shit in the bag and left out,
It wasn't above a special.
No, I wasn't above a special, man.
You've caught me off guard a time or two with your ensemble.
Right. And so, he's getting on me all weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, man, I really don't need to. A lot of guys, they go heavy into the shoes. I've never been a shoe guy. And some guys are really shoe guys. And women will tell you, especially in the urban community, like, hey, I love shoe guy. My guy got to have Jordans and this and that. And I've never been a shoe guy. And, some guys are jewelry. Some guys are cologne. Some guys are really heavy on the very expensive cologne. I got a homeboy, shout out to Nate. He has all of the great colognes that, whatever, that are out there. Me, I'm just a soap and water guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a natural scent guy, take it or leave it. And never been big on jewelry. Matter of fact, I just lost my one and only watch I've had for the last 10 years.
That's why I don't like watches. Like, for real. When I was a kid, like, I lost like 2 watches, and I was like, I'm not wearing a watch again. What am I doing? This is an extra thing to worry about.
Exactly. And of course, all of these guys are doing this. Well, at least I would hope to get women and get women's attention. And listen, and you do what works for you, right? If that's been working for you for whatever 10, 15 years, however long you've been getting girls, continue to do that and upgrade your category. But for me, I never been into any of those things in order to get women. I just, I go up and I use my talk game, and to approach a woman and just try to be funny a little bit. And I typically I win.
Panties just start dropping.
And for podcast purposes, I you don't play a game you think you're gonna lose.
Okay.
All right. So I'm approaching women. I'm pretty sure I can get. Now listen. Listen, don't take that in the wrong way.
You're at the NFL Combine, 225 and up.
I knew that was no way that was going to come out any way other than the way it came out. But that's when approaching. You take higher shots online. Guys, you know how this. You know.
So in person, you lower the standards and go for the low hanging fruit. You pretty much did.
I didn't say that, man.
You know what? My old roommate Andrew, he had a good piece of advice. He's like, when we were in college, I was of the mindset that like, okay, you look at the club or the party or the bar, and like okay, who's the girl that you want to approach?
Yeah. And
then you try to make your approach. And he had like a totally different thing. Like he's just like, I'm going to see who wants me and deal with that. Mm-hmm. So like he'll go over, like he'd say like the 3 or 4 of us guys will go over and start talking to some girls. And like he'd go I don't care which one shows interest in me, but if one does, I'm going to follow up on it and score.
Right.
That was just the mentality. It's like, I'm not taking it this seriously.
Exactly.
And he was pretty damn successful.
Got to do what works for you, man. You got to do what works for you. And I think that is the underlying or thing. You have to find out what works for you and then really hone in on that skill, man. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be really weird if like what worked for you was jewelry or shoes. like if you take that back, like, what is it saying about you? That if I'm not in the high-end jewelry or the high-end shoes, I got no chance? Like, that's where we are with this? Like, if I was the shoe or the jewelry guy, I think I'd really have some dark moments of insecurity.
I'm sure it comes with that,
I mean,
man.
what are you really offering?
Yeah.
I mean, I got a Nike app discount. I mean, like this is kind of weird.
But some women really love shoes, man. Some women are really into the shoe game, and unfortunately, that's just never been me. or maybe fortunately.
This guy cheated on you at every opportunity, but his shoe game was on point. Get what you wanted, babe.
Oh man. As always, we got a pretty.
Well, as always, let this be like a cautionary moment to like, don't be so damn stupid and superficial. Like, actually try to meet like a solid person.
No,
on either side of this, it's like like what are you doing if you're overly fixated on shoes? I mean, when it's go time, those shoes are usually off.
Anyway,
and the jewelry too. So.
Yeah, seriously, man. Well, today we're going to be talking about quite a few different things here. NFL, NBA, okay. We got a couple, crazy storylines as well, as always. That's sort of the On the Bench podcast, home of sports, music, and mayhem. That's a part of the mayhem there. All right. And, Justin Herbert, NBA, Klay Thompson, Tua, Patrick. We're going to get into it, man.
I got to say, I love the red arrow pointing at Herbert. Like, there's no other humans in that picture. Like, why do we need an arrow?
You got to make sure, man.
Let there be no doubt we're talking about the only guy here.
On the show, man, when you're doing the shows, a lot of times you're wrong about a lot of things. And whatever, you're wrong sometimes, you're right sometimes. I feel like I called the
when Tyreek left Kansas City, I called. I said, "Hey, we're going to be just as good, if not better. Definitely win." And everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" Didn't it happen? She's like, "Oh, the Ben Simmons thing, I called way ahead of time." Okay, man, you've been on this with Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
I haven't been such. I've been a believer in Justin, saying he's been elite. You've been steadfast from the very beginning. And I'm easing towards your corner, man.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I'm easing towards the right corner.
There's always room on my bandwagon.
Justin Herbert, the Los Angeles Chargers quarterback, is just overrated, man.
He's an empty suit. Like, he looks the part. He's tall. He's athletic. He has the big arm, but he has the personality of unused toilet paper. There's nothing there. Like, you don't see any fire, any drive, anything special from this guy in the intangibles category.
Right.
And what that means is he doesn't win games.
Yeah.
He just does not win a significant amount of games, and he's not on a bad football team.
No.
He's not running around with zero talent around him.
No.
And there's something that just does not add up. Did you ever see the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
That's the guy. But was it Bo Ryan or whatever his name?
Yeah,
That's him.
Yeah.
He looks the part. I bet he had 2 people at his birthday party.
Check the volume of your phone. I think it's on.
Oh, okay, my bad.
But yeah.
But I feel that you could feel this with something. I felt it for a while. I mean, really good players win lots of games.
Yeah.
That's what the job is. It's not about looking good at the combine or whatever, or on some viral video. That's another thing. I cannot stand these videos that just show like one throw in isolation. And it's just like
a guy either throwing 70 yards or
Justin
whatever.
Herbert slinging it. Like, come on, dude.
And here's the thing. He's a good quarterback. The question is, and what Pink has been against, is he a part of that elite group? And that's really what this is about. Because, and when you're looking at this past game, when of course, they lost to the Cowboys, it's just you have so many opportunities to make the throw. Like, a guy miss a throw or two throughout a game, but like he missed his number one receiver, Allen, who is a really good receiver.
Yeah,
he missed them like for 2 wide open touchdowns. I mean, like, just overthrew him. And it's in the problem is it's a big game. It's a prime time national game, and those things happen to Justin more times than not. And that's what separates these guys. So when you say, "Oh, but these guys have more," Tua has. Look at Tua. He has Tyreek. He has this. He has that. No. Look at the opportunities Justin has in these big games. He's overthrowing guys for touchdown passes. Tua is making that pass to his Tyreek Hill. Like, so Tyreek, if you overthrow Tyreek, you overthrow him. All right, and
pretty hard to do. But
it's pretty hard to do. But if you do it, you do it.
Yeah.
And you're overthrowing those guys who are wide open in primetime big games, and that just shows you don't have it, man. He doesn't have what those elite guys have to put him in that group, to put him in that class, man.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Well, there's 2 things I want to address. A lot of my Justin Herbert thing is I felt like after his rookie year, there was like this media push to throw him up in the top 5 in the elite category. And I didn't get it. Like, he had a nice rookie year, but let's see what's up. And there was just a rush to push him ahead, which I really resented and pushed back against. And again, this is a guy that hasn't won playoff games. That hasn't done the stuff that quarterbacks are truly measured on. You could go have your 32 touchdown, 4,500 yard passing season, but if you don't win big, like, it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
And people got to get over that. And like you said, everybody's going to miss a throw or two, but the best guys find a way to be good when they need to be good. 2-minute drill, end of half, you're getting the ball back to start the second half. There's critical possessions that turn games. And like we talked about this last week with the Chiefs, like, their talent's not what it was, particularly on offense a few years ago. And so Pat's in this thing where he's throwing to some nobodies for the most part. But he just keeps finding a way to stay close and make enough plays, and then you win the game. And you don't fear Justin Herbert. And the best guys at the position, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes with the ball, you're like, damn, I gave him too much time.
Yeah.
And more often than not, he's going to prove you right.
Yeah, and see, and on draft day, I thought Miami made a huge mistake in drafting Tua over Herbert. I had hopped on that Herbert hype train that you said the media was pushing him, and I hopped right on it, and because he is a somewhat of for that court, for that position, a physical specimen. He has the arm, he has the size. All of that stuff.
He's athletic. He can
He has
move.
the
He
measurables.
can run. Yeah.
And Tua, shorter guy, kind of looks like he can stand to lose 10 to 15 sometimes pounds.
Don't talk about his body.
He's not a guy that's going to, toss it 60, 70 yards down the field. But, he was an accurate guy coming out of college. But Herbert was just a wild guy. And you know what I mean? And I wanted Miami to take Herbert there. But outside of outside of injuries, and knock on wood, Tua's been healthy this year. Miami looks like they made the right decision. Of course,
Yeah.
Shout out to their GM. He should be there, and that's why I'm here.
And the coaching though too is you can't underestimate that. And there's a lot of criticism, and I'm going to give this to Herbert. There's a lot of criticism of Staley.
Yeah.
He does not have a lot of fans in football that really think he's a super talented guy. And Mike McDaniel is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's offbeat, he's weird, but he knows football. And he knows how to infuse people with confidence.
Yeah.
And that's leadership. And those Dolphin guys, they play with passion, they play with belief in themselves, and that's a huge difference. That they have going there. And this too has where you're drafted is monumental to your overall outcome as a player. But my thing with Herbert as a college guy was he's one of those like local Oregon guys. He never really went to Oregon. He never expanded or sort of pushed himself. And I think that's a little bit of a problem. And he was always kind of known as like a quiet guy. And unless you're kind of just real special and just have that real special leadership quality, like you can't be a quiet guy.
Yeah.
You got to have a presence. When you're in a room, even if you're not talking, people got to know you're there. To be a real leader.
Now, I wasn't overly impressed by the Cowboys either. They come away to get the win. Definitely needed that win, especially with the upcoming schedule that they have. But the Cowboys, as I said once before on the show, they destroy the bad teams. They kind of split with the average teams, what the Chargers are, and they always get embarrassed and lose the big games.
Yeah.
And this game was there for Herbert to win. Again, he missed throws he shouldn't have missed, and the Chargers were right there. They should have won that game. But, that's the NFL, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda every week from week to week.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the Cowboys won that game. I think the Chargers lost it.
I think that's a fair statement. But again, back out the lens a little bit, and you have two of these essentially mid quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they're not good. And typically when they're playing among the best guys, they're not the best guy. And they lose those battles. And here they kind of just negated each other. It wasn't you didn't watch that game and felt like, oh, this is a really well played football game.
Right.
Amazing. Just two teams that were kind of mediocre and not particularly well coached, not particularly well quarterbacked, and you got what you got.
Exactly. All right. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let's go. Let's keep it NFL really quick here.
All right.
Who's the best 5-1 team? So there are a couple 5-1 teams here. Of course, you have the Miami Dolphins. And that really, unique, crazy, great offense that they have going there. All right. You have my Kansas City Chiefs, who are also 5-1 here. All right. And then you also have the Detroit Lions, who are 5-1. A lot of people are saying that they're actually the best team in the league. And then, of course, you have the 49ers. All right. So that's,
and the Eagles.
And the Eagles.
The two teams that fell from the undefeated ranks, both in disappointing fashion.
Yeah.
The Eagles.
The 49ers and Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles lose to the Jets, and Jalen Hurts was bad, really bad. And then The 49ers are in a dogfight with Cleveland, and they miss a makeable field goal and lose there. So we lose all the undefeated teams. And 5 teams that are 5-1, like how do you manage this? Like, what are you looking at? Are you saying, well, whose loss was worse, or who do I trust most? I tend to look at things as like, who do I really trust the most? And if a game's played tomorrow, who do I think can win it? And to me, I still like the Chiefs because I like Pat that much. And I think Hurts, they've won games. They're 5-1. You can't take that away from them. But he has not moved forward from where he was last year. I'm not ready to say he's regressed significantly, but there was no leap. And coming out of the Super Bowl, he was poised to take that stand and be like, I'm as good as anybody. From an individual performance standpoint, he was every bit as good as Mahomes on the biggest stage that day. And he has not played up to that. I don't particularly like Jared Goff, but I think he's solid, and I think Detroit's doing a lot of good things. But I do like this Dolphins team. I would probably slot them at number 2, 49ers number 3. And I know people are in love with Brock Purdy, but again, what's reeled its head in is McCaffrey's hurt. Not quite sure how long. And I do think, I'm not saying he's a complete product of the system, but there's a very good offensive scheme in San Francisco with a lot of very talented guys when they're at full strength. And I don't think, and I want to see Purdy win a game on his own. Can he win a Mahomes game where you're throwing to guys that have dropped passes? I don't think he can either. But that's why, as good as they are on both sides of the ball, I would probably say in some ways they're the most balanced team. But in a win-or-go-home game, I'm taking the best quarterback, and that's Pat.
Yeah, and that's a really fair assessment.
I'm known for being fair.
I just think the 49ers are the best team in football. And that's
two sides of the ball, up and down the roster. I agree.
Yeah, injuries aside, the problem is, and why I have the 49ers at 2 and the Chiefs at 1. The difference is, I don't trust McCaffrey and Debo and those guys to be healthy down the stretch.
Yeah.
When is the last time McCaffrey has been healthy?
Yeah.
Like, if you can promise me those guys are going to be healthy down the stretch and for the playoff run, then yeah, okay, 49ers are the best team in football.
McCaffrey, really, there's not a lot of difference between him and AD in basketball. Like, he's literally missed games every single year of his career. Yeah. It's just what happens with him. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. He's a hell of a talent. He's way more aesthetically pleasing to watch than AD for me. He is. If healthy, he is one of the probably top 10 most watchable players in the league.
Yeah.
But again, his history, his data shows us that he doesn't play 17, 18 games a year. He plays less than that. And if you're missing the wrong games, you're dead in the water.
And they need those players on the perimeter for Brock. To thrive because he they need the yak guys. Brock is really good, in that system with those guys because they could throw it short and they could take it the distance and things of that nature, and they can sort of manage the game, and then Brock can make a play or two down the field here throughout the game. But to ask him, that's too much of him to ask to continually make plays the entire game. He needs his playmakers to do that for him.
I feel there's a lot of similarities between Purdy and Tua. I think they're both guys that play with great anticipation, but to play with great anticipation, you have to play within structure, so you have something to anticipate. And both guys are exceptional at that. And if you're able to play the game basically in rhythm and anticipate, they're very, very effective. If the game is such that that it breaks down and they have to throw things out of rhythm, off kilter, I don't think either one is well suited to do that. And I think they both break down. And so what you have when you strip away some of the weapons of the 49ers, you're not winning as many one-on-ones. You're not dictating as much coverage because of your weapons, and you're not going to get the same productivity. And it's kind of like the Dolphins, the same thing. Like, if they lose enough pieces around to it, it's going to be a struggle. But they have guys all over the field that cause problems. Starts with Tariq, Waddle, and then the running backs have been phenomenal. And when you cause those problems, you can play in rhythm and in structure. And then the great anticipatory throws are there. But if you don't have that, you got to kind of scrap and make things happen other ways. And those two guys, to me, are similar in what they can and can't do.
And the truth is, all of these teams have big question marks. I mean, because even though I have the Chiefs at number one, it just looks like they could be had this year. You know, they don't have enough oomph on the offensive end as far as their playmakers go. I mean, they just made a trade for McCole Hardman, who could barely see the field or see targets over in New York with the Jets. But he's saying that they weren't using him right, and of course he had at least a decent level of success with the Chiefs as far as bubble screens and things like that. And he's a guy that can, that could take it the distance here and there. Now you have that, and the Chiefs' defense, they're here and there. They perform well against bad teams, and we'll see what they can do against. They have the Chargers here coming up here, and the Chargers are actually the only team in the division that has even beaten Mahomes.
Okay.
And things of that nature. So then, all right. So I have Chiefs 1, 49ers 2. I would go Detroit 3. It sounds like you had Detroit last in yours.
No, I did not. I actually had who was the other two?
Because you went Philly. You went
I went Chiefs.
Yeah.
49ers. I would say Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say the Lions over Philadelphia
Lions
right
over
now.
Philly.
Just I really feel, and I'm concerned. I like Jalen Hurts, but I think that he hasn't played great. This loss against the Jets was really bad on him, and Philly's tough. Like things could get very negative in a hurry if they don't right the ship. And I think they have the Dolphins this week.
Dolphins and Philly play this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean if you have a couple games slide, they're going to eat them alive. It's going to be tough.
It is. That game is going to be really, really interesting. The Eagles' defense hasn't been as good as last year either. Yeah. And their secondary can be had, and that's very unfortunate going against Miami receiving core. But here goes the thing. The reason why I would put Detroit right over Miami, number one, Detroit has the easiest schedule down for the remaining games. We talked about that.
But I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at it if we have to play each other.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
So I'm saying, like, I can look good with that for the next 10, 12 weeks.
Right.
But when the playoffs start, they are a team you could see maybe going out because, the 49ers or the Eagles are a team I would favor in a playoff matchup over them, right? So they could be a first-round, second-round playoff matchup versus Miami. They do have the tutelage to be in the Super Bowl. I do not believe Detroit is a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Miami can be a Super Bowl team. All right, so but I have to factor the schedule in, just because you can't have a 2 to 3 win team. At least in my mind, a 2 to 3 lost team, rearing the 4th or 5th. I don't know. You just that just won't sound good. It won't look good. All right.
Yeah.
And as you stated, the Eagles, they're just a team just much different than last year. They lost 2 of their coordinators. That seems to be. Hurting them. They lost the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They were left for head coaching jobs last year. Yeah, that seems to be hurting that team. And they haven't caught their mojo back yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. We'll see. And shout out to Coach in the comments, telling everyone to hit the like button. We appreciate that, Coach Barodi. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I'll take. What's interesting though. And let's see here. We went from Herbert to NFL. Let's just finish the NFL out. We got a lot to talk about.
Don't
with
have
NFL,
to circle
man.
back to the NFL.
And Herbert. I'm sorry, not Herbert. Tua is in this MVP race, and as of right now, they have Tua and Patrick as the betting odds tie for MVP. All right, that's the betting odds. If you ask any most people are going to shade Tua right now. If the season will end right now today, they probably would, lean towards Tua being the MVP. They're just saying, the betting odds are saying Patrick has a lot of ground to cover ground and eventually win it. What would you say? I mean, this MVP thing. First of all, I hate talking about MVP this early, but it's such a huge thing that huge thing in sports and sports media, and it just seems like all of these guys, especially. Like you have one bad game, it could just take you completely out of the race.
Well, and that's the stupidity of talking about it too early.
Yeah,
is that one bad game, missing a couple of games for injury purposes or whatever can change the race. But right now, I would give it to Tua. He's on an offense that's performing at a historic level. And again, the records are the same. I would reward Tua. I actually think the third guy in the discussion would be Tyreek Hill. And because he's in a situation where he may be able to put up a 2,000-yard receiving season.
The problem is if he puts up 2,000 receiving, then what is Tua doing?
Correct. I agree. But there's there's Tyreek has a capacity to make plays that just are like, wow.
No,
even
electrifying.
And that might, it could kind of tip a thing. If you're looking at it like an election, though, like the fact that you have two of the three candidates on the same team would probably actually favor Mahomes winning.
Yeah.
And that you may, split some votes or whatever between the two Dolphins and have that. But right now, present thing, I would do that. But let's just celebrate Mike McDaniel again with the interview after in the press conference where it's just like, you guys have set the record for offensive production for first 5 games, and he's like, mission accomplished. Our entire offseason was focused on offensive productivity through 5 games.
No, that's hilarious. Jalen Hurts just shouldn't be on there at all. I don't know if they didn't update
Why?
this
I don't
list.
think any. I mean, I guess you could go with Purdy, but I mean, to me, Jalen Hurts has struggled. Josh Allen has not been great.
He came out of the gate slow, and he's sort of been heating up since. And then he had this stinker in London there.
I mean, he had a really good game against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So credit him. You step up in a big divisional game against a really strong team and you play great. But other than that one game, I haven't been overly impressed with his play. And again, that's another team where it just feels like it's a talented team. They could click at some point, but it does feel that there's like a missing element of mojo there.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, roster-wise, there's no reason they shouldn't be in the discussion of the top 5 teams, but they've lost a couple games, And then they lose Matt Milano, the linebacker, so they've been and one of the corners to injury too.
I will say this: if the Chiefs can manage to get the number 1 seed in the AFC, that is ridiculous with this roster. I mean, this is just not a good offensive team. Yeah. And if he can manage that, I don't see how you can give the award to anyone else. So if they went 14-3, home field throughout, you'd be like, hey, you can't touch this. Yeah, and Tua is going to end with a better statistical year. I mean, he just is. It's going to be zero doubt about it. Yeah. But if, like I said, if Mahomes can get that, I mean, and they play each other. I mean, it's going to be a lot of factors. I mean, the Chiefs still play the Dolphins. Hold on, do they play the Dolphins? Let me check that. I know they play the Bills, of course. And because those head-to-heads, they matter as well, especially. I'm going to say this: I don't think they matter as much in pro football than they do in college. You don't think so? They do play Miami. They play Miami, Miami, Philly, Buffalo. Bengals for what it's worth. I know Joe Burrow is not. This is not the same Joe Burrow. This is a clone Joe Burrow. He was pretty good last week though. He was okay. I think he may. Not pretty good. I'm not saying he's going to ever be in the MVP discussion this year, but I think you could see a little bit of a turnaround. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he threw for 185 and 2 touchdowns and interception. It's safe. I can say he has to be somewhat still hampered. Oh yeah, 100%. Like Joe is not. He just didn't. A fucking alien didn't come and take half his talent. But I think what you're finding though. I think he's finding
how to
How
deal
to
with it,
manage,
how to
yeah,
manage
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And again, that's another mark of greatness is like when you're not at full capacity, can you figure out how to still play, how to still be effective, and how to win games? And
Yeah.
they've kind of steadied themselves a little bit.
This bye week helps. They have a bye week this week. That
Yeah.
really helps. But coming out of the gate, man, they have the 49ers right out of the gate.
Yeah.
At the 49ers, and then they have the Bills. Those are going to be two really tough games.
But look at, I mean, here everything is there's also opportunity there.
Oh,
Now,
for sure.
like again, Joe gets a little healthier. McCaffrey and maybe Debo aren't healthy for the 49ers. They find a way to win that game.
Huge.
And then they get one at Buffalo. Now they're in the conversation of AFC contenders again.
100%.
That's the thing, and you got to look at this. You can't, you got to look at it as opportunity.
Yeah.
You win these games, you get the results, it all changes.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, let's go to some fun stuff here. Not that that's not fun.
Detailed, nuanced NFL discussion.
NFL feels like work.
Does it really?
I took a couple weeks off of betting.
Good.
I'm just not going to bet again.
You should retire from betting.
I'm going to retire this season.
Okay.
It's over. I haven't bet in a couple weeks.
That's not retiring. That's shutting it down.
That's just shut it down. Listen, man, you look at this last week. How can you win in the NFL when you have the fucking you have the Browns beating the 49ers, who were favored by damn near basically 10 points. All right, you have what was the other upset? We just talked about the Eagles. The Jets beat the Eagles. They were favored basically by a touchdown. The Eagles were favored by a touchdown. How can you win?
The Jets. Let's talk about the Jets real quick, though.
Yeah,
they're kind of figuring it out.
yeah.
I think for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the injury, they were just lost. There was no confidence in Zach. The team was on the verge of kind of like fighting itself. And I think that they've kind of put it together a little bit. They've got a little bit of formula.
And what is this Aaron Rodgers stuff? You see him going on the
Might be
sideline talking
magical,
about
yeah.
that
Yeah.
just seems so improbable.
But what that is, and I'm telling you what's going on, his progress, the way he looks, that's bolstering this team. That's kind of like one of those things that suggest anything is possible.
Yeah.
You're watching him make this what appears to be a miraculous injury recovery. That defense is woken up and said, offense or no offense, we can defend our asses off.
Yeah.
And like the coach said the other day, like they've made good quarterbacks look bad, and they're hanging their hat on that. They don't care. Like at this point, the Jets are confident enough. Like we've played Pat, we've played Hurts, we've played a bunch of guys. Nobody's looked good against us, and we don't think anybody can look good against us. And Zach's kind of found his legs a little bit, and I think they're finding out. You got to realize they spent all camp basically doing the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers is a football savant. Like he has license to do whatever he wants basically. And adjust routes, adjust schemes, coverages, whatever. And then you go to a guy that's finding his way as a pro and hasn't had any success. They've got to kind of coach again. And they're kind of finding their footing with that. Here's what we can do with this guy. Here's what we can't. Protect him with the run game. We do have some talented receivers, and the kid's got a little confidence now.
Yeah. We'll see how far they can go. They do have their schedule is not incredibly tough down the stretch. You see what you can do with that. They have a bye week as well this week.
Jermaine Johnson, FSU legend, is going to be in Tallahassee for the game. I will be there too. We're not traveling together. But he posted that the other day that he's going to be in Tally for the game.
Who's that?
Jermaine Johnson. He played for Florida State.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was interesting. I mean, we go to Florida State real quick. He was a guy that was at Georgia, was on track to would have been a national champion. But at Georgia, he was like a situational edge rusher off the bench, limited snaps. He transfers to Florida State when we were bad. He was like one of Norvell's first big transfers. And he played one season at FSU before going to the draft. And in so many ways, he is the template for the success we're enjoying now. He went from a high-profile program with a limited role, came to Florida State, became an every down end, became a first-round draft pick, and is having some success in the league. He's a high-character dude, loves Norvell. He's one of those guys that will like tweet like pictures and videos from our games and comment on them and stuff like that. Like super seminal guy, but he was there for 1 year.
That's it.
but he's happy as hell to be coming back to campus, and he is a transfer portal success story.
Exactly.
On the highest level. And again, in 1 year, I'm not saying he's Dion and Charlie Ward combined, but he's certainly etched his name in FSU, in the fabric of our program.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. And Florida State, I mean, they have Duke this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing what you
would hope.
Man.
Just win games, baby.
At the top of the year.
That's all that matters. Just win games.
Win games, get in the dance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And let's go to war. Really quick here, I would like to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors here, Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code BubbaPink and be fresh for this fall. Even though it's getting a little chilly here, you can see they have a couple hoodies up, getting ready for hoodie season. And use promo code BubbaPink, and you can get those hoodies at a discount.
I had to do the U-turn in the driveway the other day. Like I walked out the garage door and I said, "Damn, it's cold."
Yeah, man.
I went back in and got like a pull
Came out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, man.
Told my niece, Florida is like a car. It's just, it's giving you a warning.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, be cold for the eternity here. It's just gonna be. It's a cold front, and then it's gonna get warm again. It's gonna get hot again. But this is your warning, like, hey, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's not always 80 degrees.
Exactly. Let's go here, man. Let's go to the
You're so crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy segment here. We're going to talk about a couple of different scenarios and segments here and people here. Some of my favorite people. Some of the America's favorite people, not ours in particular. I'm going to let you go on Jada Pinkett Smith and this Will Smith thing.
Okay.
No, we kind of missed the trending boat here, but let's go there. Where's Jada at here? Let's go here, man, because of course we know she's a little Looney Tune, a little crazy here.
She is the personification of toxic. Like there's no filter, there's no decency, there's no discretion in anything about her. And she's really disgusting to watch as a person. There's just no other way to say it. Like, she's continuously putting these things out that are, embarrassing, potentially offensive to Will Smith, her partner, and just reveals it piece by piece by piece. And but you mentioned a critical thing, like she's releasing a book, apparently a memoir. And so what do modern day celebrities do when they're releasing a project? They say outlandish stuff. That's the game plan.
Exactly.
You go out, you say a bunch of stuff that's going to make you viral and clickbait, and then you release your project and whatever. But I think my take on this Will and Jada thing, first off, like, I don't really care anymore. Like, it does not matter. I haven't liked a Will Smith movie in years. Like, in all seriousness, like, he fucked up Ali, so fuck him. And Jada Pinkett, like, the last time she was relevant was when she got smashed in Jason Lyric. Wasn't that the peak of her career?
Probably so.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't get better from there. So, I mean, these are has-been celebrities. Realistically, has-been celebrities. And then what we have, though, is I think a very real thing in that you have an unbalanced relationship. And you have one person, Will Smith, who I think genuinely loves her, and she doesn't love him the same. It's not close. Like, she literally doesn't give a shit. And it's a tragic situation in that sense, but a lot of people are in that, like in their own lives and their own relationships and stuff like that. I mean, and the biggest lesson that you could take, if you want to be productive in any way from this, is if you're in a relationship right now where the love isn't close to equal, get the hell out. Do yourself a favor. It may be painful to do, but you're basically consigning your life to pain and anguish to stay in this situation. And you saw the whole Chris Rock thing was basically him just being demoralized as a person.
Yeah.
And, kind of grasping for something that he could control, something that he could vent on. And it's just a god-awful relationship. And it probably has been since the beginning, But then we got J. Cole giving us, lyrics about him, trying to make it seem okay.
Yeah, Jada's not a draw anymore at all. I think Will still has some drawing power a little bit here and there.
Not really. I mean,
But for the most part, like you said, we talk about the Americans all the time. People in America here, they go crazy for celebrity gossip and getting the insight into these people's homes and things like that. They just love it, man. They eat this shit up. So us knowing what she's doing with this book memoir and just stirring shit up just so she could sell a few more copies. Others, they don't see it that way. You know what I mean? They love celebrity gossip. I always said the same thing about the Pusha T Drake thing. Like, Pusha T won the damn battle against Drake because he told everybody that Drake was having a baby. Like that's
right.
That was the big thing. Like people was like, "Oh, Drake, they're jealous he was having a baby." What the fuck should we care? Like, right. but people love it so much. Even men, people just automatically tie that to like women loving gossip and women being gossipers. But when it comes to celebrity news and celebrity gossip, people in general just go nuts about it.
Yeah.
And, that's why, all of these blogs and all of these things and the celebrities, they know it. And so what they think and what their agents say, how can we capitalize and make money off of these dumb idiots who just want to be inside of our relationship and marriage? And this is what you get.
100%. And the other thing is this is like, there are so many people that have large like celebrity profiles that almost don't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Or if you're talking about the Kardashians, never did anything at any point in their lives. And they feed off of this insatiable appetite for trivial nonsense. Mm-hmm. And like, like showing something of your life or that appears like vulnerable or open. And it's probably not. Like if you're really, new, it's probably not at all. But that in itself has become like a reason to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, a celebrity was somebody who they did something great. They were great in the arts. They were great in athletics. They were great in, politics or public life in some way, and then they became compelling because they were so damn good. But now it's like, you do anything. The other thing, I think we've got another one coming up with some of these like random ass hip hop people that I don't even know who the hell they are. I've never heard their song, but like they're like their names and like who they're banging and who they cheated on is like a story. And it's like, come on, man, be better than this.
Yeah.
There's gotta be better than this.
Rich people bang other rich people. I mean,
sometimes they bang a poor person,
and sometimes they bang poor people.
If there's a hole there, fill it.
Oh man, but yes, going back to that. I just had a quick thing because, like you said, Blueface, right? So Blueface is a guy.
What has this guy ever done besides be in stupid conversations?
That's his thing now, right? Yeah.
But was there ever anything before the thing now?
He had one. He was one of the one-hit wonder guys who comes out with a song, and to his credit, what a lot of one-hit wonders failed to do is maintain relevancy after that. Even though they don't have any musical talent, they have the one hit, and then they fail to cling on to anything. Blueface has found he understands the idiocy in people. And I don't know if it's his agent or himself, and he throws himself in these situations and on these crazy batshit TV shows, which I don't know, who are giving them ratings. I just don't know. But he got his mom involved and the girls and the girl. It's just a fucking shit show. I only know because I see an IG clip here and there, and then women I date know about this shit. And so
that says a lot about the women you date.
And so Blueface here, I guess I don't know if it was an interview or whatever, and he's talking about Megan Thee Stallion. And listen, let me just he says here that Megan gave him head like right after, like days after she got shot by Tory Lanez, right? And
why wasn't he called as a witness for the defense? She wasn't hurt. She's out there slobbing knobs, mine included.
And Megan has yet to
and think about how many chicks they can't give head because they have a mild headache. She's
out here with bullet wounds I owe bullet wounds giving head. Okay.
Maybe we should respect her a little bit.
And my first take that's becoming my second take now. Let's just say that. But my first take on it when I look at it and hear it is like, I dislike Nikki as much as the next guy. I mean, not Nikki, but Megan. I dislike Megan as much as the next guy. But if you can't divulge this information if you blueface. You can't do it for various reasons. Like,
Please tell me the reasons, because I'm not sure.
Kissing and telling. You can't, especially like you can't tell the people who gave you head and who let you smash. For number one, the next superstar woman is going to see this and be like, I can't fuck with Blueface because he's going to tell the world what we did. You're taking coochie and head away from you when you do that, because a lot of these women, they like these superstar women, I assume that they're screwing a lot of people. A lot of guys are like in their fucking guys with money. Like they could fly them out here and there. They could pay for this and that. You know what I mean? On top of the money they're already getting, they don't even have to spend their own fucking money.
And we know they're not putting a lot of time in their craft.
You got P Diddy with the City Girl, and he's paying for her whole podcast platform. Like like these guys are they'll do anything for a piece of the coochie or head. And so you're taking yourself out of the running now for the next whoever, attractive woman who comes along that's in superstardom.
But you're trying to take away the one thing you gave him credit for, and that's staying relevant after your one meager hit. And part of what stays relevant is literally being a toxic person.
Yeah,
and you're with this girl, you're with that girl, you're photographed here, you're cheating here. That right now is a career.
But you can't. You're already doing well. Like he doesn't have an MO for doing this, right? So he's veered away from what he's doing. But he's not known for saying, "Hey, I got head from this superstar woman," or I smashed this superstar woman, and telling the world and creating his own memoirs. He's not known for that. You're doing well in the lane you're in. Stay here.
My thing is his lane can endure this. It can endure this. Now, if he becomes like a serial kiss and tell guy, where it's like, oh, this week, now you're in trouble.
Okay.
But I think there's enough mixed sentiment over Meg anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, you could throw this out there. Like, there's a lot of people like, we don't really like her to begin with. So it's okay. Well, yeah, it just proves you're kind of a whatever. And again, if he doesn't continue or this is his move, like, I think you're fine.
Now, I wonder what this can do. This won't do anything to Megan, but there's been quite a few guys that come out. Like, the baby was saying how he was smashing Megan at the same time as Tory was smashing. Like, there's guys who are coming out. Like, this is like the fourth or fifth guy here.
Well, so he's just jumping on the train. Like, this gives him a better defense.
Can this negatively impact her? Like, she's a whore. And I know women want to come on the...
Two things. What you said first is that a lot of people assume that, like, the successful women almost behave like successful guys, and they're having their way with multiple guys.
Anyhow.
So that's not a surprise. Okay. And then her music, her brand, is in this lane.
Yeah.
She's not telling you that she, just escaped the nunnery.
Yeah.
This is what she's all about.
She says she's having sex with whoever guy got the biggest check, and
this is on brand for her. So this is, the big picture problem is that, like, this on both sides is relevant. This is actually good for both people.
Yeah.
To just be that, and that's kind of what we were digging at before.
Yeah.
It's not about talent. It's not about really anything that's humanely decent whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's literally just about being, because people like the shock of it, oh wow, look at that, like whatever, you ponder it for a couple seconds. God, that's kind of crazy. Like right after you got shot, like, and then you move on.
Now, if you're the interviewer, you did a poor job here. Because I need details.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say in what respect?
I need to know, like, okay. We know Megan's out here giving head and screwing every dude, and then the same thing with the baby he failed to do. Like, I need to know how good is she. Now, I'm interested in that. I don't care who she did it with and who she did it to. I just want to know, was it any good? Was she trash at it? Does she like it from the back, or what? What is going on? Does the fake ass feels like implants? I know a lot of people think it's real. I don't know, but what is it real? I need details.
Now you want to really get into the.
But if you're going to divulge, go ahead, just go all out.
You go all in.
Yeah, man.
10 toes in and give us the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does she have that thing in the back of her throat that stop? I need to
The
know.
gag reflex.
Yeah, I need to know, man.
Yeah. Is he big enough to bring that into play? Or was he like some glorified dental floss?
Another interesting story that I came across here.
But that could be like a two-edged sword, though. Maybe
What's
that
that?
she comes out and said this guy was, like
Yeah, she could do that.
hung like a pimple and like what?
Who did that? One of the porn stars did that. When a lot of the superstars like Shaq and everybody, and I think it was Superhead. Correct?
Yeah.
And she was saying how Shaq was small and this and that, because a lot of the guys were saying like, yeah, I did this, I did that. And she was just saying, yeah, this guy was small. This guy, she was talking, and the Jay-Z and Nas thing. Jay-Z was bigger than Nas, and
she made a whole career out of that. I mean, that's again, it is what it is.
Well, because of that, she remained relevant after porn for a little while, just releasing those stories and memoirs.
Yeah.
But at least she got specific. Like the women were into that and interested.
Yeah.
At the very least, just be
But
be
again,
descriptive.
even that sort of stuff like resonates with dudes. You're
Yeah.
kind of like, oh damn, poor guy, like whatever. That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. Anytime a woman is talking about sex, I'm going to stop for a second and just.
Are you
listen.
really?
Yeah.
I actually
I have to hear what she's talking about. I mean, whether if it's good content or not, that'll determine how long I stay. But yeah.
I generally don't.
Yeah?
Like it's almost like a repellent. I'm all for the women doing the sexual stuff, but like the talking about it, I think the threshold for women in sex is so low. It's like literally like, if you're Superhead or whatever, who's to even say she's Superhead? She could be Queen Starfish. I mean, like it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing. She could be Queen like, laying there like a corpse and like, oh yeah, well, Jay-Z was a little bigger. Like, okay. What did you bring to the table?
And no, I'm not talking about. I'm not saying I'm interested in knowing, like, hearing about the different guys. I'm talking about just it's talking about sex in general.
No. But what I'm saying
Like
is they tend to
or-
like, I don't know, like when they talk about it, it tends to be weird. I think it's not like I don't know. I think they overstate things a lot for their own role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's
Ladies, you're capable of a poor performance. Admit it. Like seriously, I think that's the myth of it.
Yeah, that is really, that's the thing, right? Every woman thinks their coochie is awesome and it's tight and it doesn't stink
And whenever a woman is talking about sex, that's the place that it's coming from.
yeah, that's what it's coming from.
No woman's ever said, man, I had it really bad. I was pretty crappy that day. Like,
Yeah,
it's just, that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you're freaking Superwoman again.
So this other story here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling on IG, and the thing about this particular story here. So there's a couple that were married, and the husband got into a really bad car accident. Okay, and now he's he became crippled and paralyzed to an extent, right? And needs around the clock care. He needs care. He needs somebody to take care of him. And so the wife remarries. That's the interesting part I didn't catch. I don't know if they divorced. What is she? I don't know. She remarries, And a part of the terms when she's dating this guy at first, of course they're just dating, and she's saying like, hey, I don't know, she's saying ex-husband or whatever, and he got into a car accident. If you want to take me, you got to take care of him as well. Let me play this video really quick.
That's
here.
a tough conversation.
It is. I'm gonna play the video really quick. Online are saying that these people are crazy, and everyone from the new husband and to the wife and the family of the guy who's got into the accident. So, and I can't determine for myself which way to go here, because if I'm the new husband, just me personally, I don't think I could do it. Now you had a unique take. I don't know if you want to say it here, but
Yeah, I do.
oh, go ahead.
No, okay. I mean, part of the issue, like, part of the issue is sex. Like when you're with somebody, you're with a significant other, and one of your concerns is, oh, somebody else is going to smash them.
Yeah.
If the paralyzed husband is out of the game, like, there's no threat there, and if her attention and energy and love and compassion is divided between you and him, like, you're kind of in a stable place.
Yeah.
Like, he does not pose a threat. I hate to say this, but in his condition, he's not much different than a kid or a pet. Like, he does not present like that, the thing of like, hey, I'm going to smash your lady. Like, it's just not a thing. And so I think that there's part of a safe space there. Like, I mean, think about any time that, like, if you ever have, if you've been in a relationship with somebody and, like, you kind of feel somewhat uncomfortable with they're spending too much attention on another guy or whatever. Like, why is that? The whole thing is they're gonna smash, or maybe they are smashing, and I'm not comfortable with that. But if you take that off the table, then this whole relationship evolves differently. He's like, yeah, I'm the person that, we smashed. This is our, thing. And this is this other guy. And it's, he can't do any of this, whatever.
In theory, that is fine, right? That's good. like if my wife is, whatever, she's spending a bunch of time with the guy from work or the gym trainer, and I can 100% find out or identify that they're not having sex, and there's sex is 1,000% off the table. I'm completely fine with that, because yes, they're not going to smash, and it soothes me to know that. Number one, number two, they're going to take up a lot of the emotional time, the conversations that I don't want to have time. All right, they're going to take, and then and then on my end, it's going to be just sex and day-to-day things, whatever.
Right.
Grocery shopping and mall and stuff like that, and sex. That's fine. Here is a different component, because now you're asking me to take care of someone else, like around the clock, take care of. So how it would depends on, okay, how much of this I would have to do, and things like that. I don't really care about if she still loves him or not, because as you just stated, he can't do anything, right?
Right.
But how much am I going to have to do? Am I a bad person for even feeling that way?
Well, that's another part of it. And I'm glad you mentioned, like to be a caregiver to somebody who's paralyzed, somebody who's gravely ill, like, that's a that takes a special type of person, and not a lot of people are built for that. And so the fact that this guy can do that, and they didn't mention, maybe he's from like the nursing field or medical field, and maybe it's not something that's so foreign to his experience, or maybe he had a relative in his own life, a parent or something that was in a bad situation, and it's like this is just not something new to him. That's possible, but that's a huge ask, and it's not something I think I would be comfortable with personally. I'm weirded out with medical situations. That's just one of my things that I'm not comfortable with or not good at. But I would also say this though is going to the common thing. Like one of the things that couples struggle with is kind of what you were almost alluding to is separation. It's like, okay, like I really don't like a lot of stuff that you do, and I don't really want to talk about it, and they may feel the same way. And the crazy thing is taking care of this guy, like it becomes like a common purpose. If they're both engaged in doing it, it has a chance to bring them closer together in the sense that like, hey, we do this together. This is like, it doesn't stop. We got to do it morning, noon, and night. Yeah. There's not like we're in a couple place that we're not we're not in a situation where we're not seeing each other or spending time with each other because you're at the gym and you're at the drink wine and paint crap, those sort of things. And so like, it almost brings you and keeps you in this closer situation.
It does. Now Ebony is saying he actually lives in the home and not with the couple.
Okay.
That's a big component. But why would she's kind of like telling this story as if he's there all the time.
Yeah, it's a little bit
because if he lives in a home, the guy shouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah, you're not involved in it. Really.
She can go on her own time and see him. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's...
Now you start to question what's going on with the story.
Why is it a story?
Yeah.
Because that means that the new husband, the guy, he's going out of his way to just be a part of her life and just whatever. That's whatever. The story is if he's there all the time and he kind of has to put up with it, and eventually, like he just does.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm watching the clip, I'm envisioning that this is like an everyday thing. They have to help this guy do whatever he's got to do, bathe him, make sure he's fed and whatever. But if he's at some sort of facility and like they visit him for an hour, every 2 weeks, like okay, what's
you're putting this fucking Taylor Swift hero type music behind it, like this guy is such an awesome, great guy, and this is something. But if this guy's living in a home, that's not a great. It's just this is a regular guy.
Yeah, there's nothing to see here.
There's nothing to see here, man. Let me find out that he really lives in a home. This story is a farce.
It's a fraud. It's fraudulent.
It's fraudulent, man.
That's crazy. What did we just say though about all this like stupid content?
She's crazy for putting this out if that's the case.
Yeah.
All right.
She should be arrested. Nah, really.
No, seriously.
Fraudulent viral story.
Yeah. Let's talk some NBA.
All right.
We got the NBA right around this corner here.
Regular season steaming up upon us. We're in the preseason now. If you're a fan of a team, you're able to see your team here. Some of the younger guys taking the court on your team, see if they can make the team and get some minutes. I am not a fan of the preseason, though.
You're not?
I recognize it as a necessity to the playing of the season, but I could give a damn about watching these games.
I've watched. I'm a 76ers fucking stan. I've maybe watched 5 or 6 minutes total. Yeah.
Because it's like you said. I mean, there's guys that'll be playing that are not going to be on the team. There's guys like, the whole thing is what do you bring to the actual Sixers? Are you good enough to be in the rotation? Do you perform consistently in a role in the rotation? And like that's not what the preseason's about.
And I only wanted to watch for 2 guys just for that same reason, just to see if I can, because Jaden Springer and Paul Reed. Paul Reed is a guy who's looking to get be a bigger part of the rotation. A guy actually from right here, Central Florida, Paul Reed, and and he's supposed to be. The coach is giving him a green light to shoot threes. So I wanted to watch and see, and he's taken quite a few and hasn't made any. But
he's 0 for the preseason from 3-point range.
Yeah, he's 0 for.
That's terrible.
But they think he can make it, and I think so. I think so too, because he shot a fair amount, a fair percentage in the G League. Now, not here to talk 76ers, even though James Harden didn't report to practice. Matter of fact, maybe we can just open that up because the news today is he didn't report to practice. He's only been in one scrimmage so far, so he's only been to practice 1 day so far throughout this off season. They asked him beat about it today. He's like, well, maybe he had something better to do. I thought that was hilarious. Then you have Daryl Morey, who came out and says it's the Clippers' fault. They're not being serious. It's some term he used, but basically he's saying they're not being serious about wanting to make a trade.
Not negotiating in good faith.
Yeah, and just as usual. I mean, we just a shit show, and opening the season in a shit show is just something that Tyrese Maxey was on the JJ Redick show. I don't know if you caught that.
I did catch some of it. That's
and
really good.
Maxey was just like, I mean, it's kind of normal now. I mean, because ever since we drafted Maxey, I mean, there's just been crazy storylines, outside of him, of course, with the Ben Simmons thing, James Harden thing, coach, and all of that. It's always something.
What I loved about the piece on the Redick podcast was like Maxey just kind of telling you like what it's really like. It's like okay, when we set up to play and it's like without him, I know I'm gonna have the ball in my hands a lot. I'm gonna have to make certain types of plays. When he's there, I'm gonna be off the ball more, and I have to adapt my game to that. And it's really like fascinating. And he had Cam Johnson in there a couple weeks ago, and when you listen to like real professionals talk, and Maxey's a rising star, but these are not top tier stars, either one. When they talk about basketball, I mean, it's deep. Like the things that they're thinking about, processing, working on, it's fascinating, it's intriguing, and they are very self-aware of what they do, what they can't do, and I love that. And I've always felt that like true professionals have a very good handle on what they are and what they aren't. And you don't have a lot of delusion. The lower down you go, the higher the delusion gets. I'm very big on that. I think that at the highest level, the game sorts it out. You can either do these things in an NBA game or you can't. And if you can't, you got to find the couple things that you can do and bring those to the table consistently and stay in your lane. And certain guys, and I think Maxey, and it's fascinating because he's a player on the rise, but it's still evolving for him, and it's conditional on who's on the roster.
Yeah,
he's not reached that elevated point where it's just like, I'm that guy. I come and we play basketball the way I play basketball. No, it's like if certain guys are here, you're going to play one way, and if they're not here, the floor is yours. Go for it. I think I would favor. If I'm Daryl Morey or the Sixers or anybody with the brain in that organization, I would just sequester him. I would tell Harden, just stay away. You're not welcome here. And one of two things are going to happen. Well, one of three things are going to happen. You're going to sit at home. That's where it's going to start. You're either going to come to us and say that, hey, you really do want to play basketball right now and you're all in. Or, we might or might not work out a trade. But it's going to be a trade favorable on our teams. And otherwise, you sit in mothballs. Go work out, go to the strip club, do whatever you want to do. It's at this point, it's your career. This is the tail end of your career. Because if you don't make something happen this year, you fade into irrelevance. And there's a lot of people that don't really respect your game and you anyway, and you'll be one of those dudes that's going to be forgotten in 5 years.
Yeah, and you lose a year.
Some random guy on TikTok's going to be, James Harden was a bad motherfucker. and throw up some stats. And the rest of you are, oh, yeah, well, I didn't win anything. For real, that's what it is.
I've been 50-50 on it. I wouldn't mind. I think it may be better off for the team if they were to do that. To just say, hey, yeah, don't report. And allow Maxey,
because you take this story away. You take this thing. You're a week away from the regular season, and you're oh hey, he missed practice. He played 5 minutes. Like, who gives a damn? You take the story away.
A part of it is the problem I have is he's the only point guard on the roster. Maxey is just not a point guard. You love him to death. He's just not.
Yeah.
And we will suffer without that. And this fucking my whole thing with Ben Simmons was I was saying, even though, you could say he's a point guard, not a point guard, he's the only guy on the fucking roster that can do things with the ball and get other people the ball.
Right.
And I'll be goddamned we're in the same fucking situation where he's the only fucking guy on the roster that you feel comfortable with the ball and getting other people the ball.
And in their own way, both guys are essentially refusing to play.
Yeah, and how can a professional basketball team continuously trot out a 15-man roster every year with could make an argument the most important position on the fucking court? You only have one guy that can do it, and the one guy is disgruntled and whatever. But anyway, that's what I struggle with. But if he's gonna be there and but not be there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then why the fuck be there?
That's where I'm coming from.
understand.
He's giving you every sign he doesn't want to be there.
Of course.
He's playing like hardball in his own way. But whether my team is going to be a 60-win team or a 40-win team, I don't want that around.
Yeah.
That's too much aggravation. If I'm Nick Nurse, I don't want to deal with it.
That's a new coach.
Send this guy home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him near the facility. I don't want him to be able to attend a game.
Yeah.
Just get him the hell out of here.
And
He's a distraction.
And I'd rather my team, I'm leaning more towards that, and I'd rather my team grow as the season grow to understand what we need to do to overcome that, weakness on our team, rather than he's here sometimes, he's not there sometimes. Then Maxey's got the ball ahead, not got the ball. And let's grow with the team and let Maxey have his growing pains. We weren't getting out the second round this year any fucking way because we have James Harden, because we have Tobias Harris. So fuck it,
Yeah.
Let this be Maxey's growing point guard year. And if you get lucky and get a trade, you do it. If not, let him sit in the strip club.
And I really, again, you like this is the potential bite back to player empowerment. Is like, we'll put you on ice, dude. We're not going to care. We got plenty of money.
The problem is,
here's the thing:
the top players should have the empowerment. James Harden there's no room for empowerment for him.
But the problem is like, he was a top player.
Yeah.
And he's falling off the cliff. And those are the guys that are, like, in a lot of ways the most problematic.
Yeah.
Is the guys that reach that elite level and they're really great, but then they're on the downside. They still command so much in the CBA with the money, and their quality is diminishing, and you've got a real problem. But I think that's where you kind of start. You leverage their legacy. That's what you start to do. Dude, I'll go home. You're not going to play. You're not going to accumulate stats. People are going to forget you're in the league by the time we're in February.
Yeah, because the league doesn't need you.
Yeah.
At all.
We don't need you.
Yeah.
We got beat by the Celtics without you.
Yeah.
Or with you.
With it.
You've gotten in your whole history. That'd be a fun conversation to have. Like, literally, call him in and just say this shit right to his face. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Just say this right to his face. Like, and I'm going to walk out, and if the media asks me what's what, this is what I'm going to tell them. I'm giving you the courtesy of telling you now. But this is the Sixer position.
Yeah.
And whatever. Maybe he grovels back and says, man, I want to hoop. And he, whatever. But if he doesn't, like, dude, just shit on him. Just take the X-Lax and let it go.
Now, another storyline is Klay Thompson. He really wants the max. He wants a new deal, and Golden State is being very reluctant to meet his terms, and he's not happy with it. He's not happy about it, man. And Klay is a guy we could see the difference. And after post injuries, he's just not the same guy. Klay Thompson was, top 2, top 3 two-way player in the league, arguably a top 5 shooter of all time in his own right. Yeah. When pre injuries, and he's just not the same guy. Even if, first of all, he's not the same shooter, but he's still a good shooter in the NBA. The problem is he's not. He doesn't have that two-way effect.
Right.
He's not as an effective as a defender as he once was, and you just can't throw around max contracts like that at these guys, even though they are part of the fabric of your organization. And I think Golden State is being smart about it, and Clay has been unrealistic. But he sees Steph getting re-up again, and they just re-up Draymond again. And he's seeing all these. Andrew Wiggins got the money, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the CBA is going to turn into the player's worst enemy, and again, it's backloaded. The max for a player of Clay's years of service is absurd, and there is no question. Take away 2 massive injuries, he'd still be a player in decline due to age and mileage. That's just a fact. Now you throw in 2 major injuries, and there's no question the decline is expedited. There is no rational argument to say that Klay Thompson is worthy of a max salary under the CBA. It's a joke to think that. And he personally is maybe offended or whatever, but get over yourself.
Yeah.
There's no way you could say that. And I love Klay Thompson. I think he's an NBA treasure. But I can't say that he's the same player he was. And to me, like, I don't even, like, commercially, LeBron and Steph are probably the only 2 players late in their career worth the max. I don't even think KD is truly worth the max. KD does not have the same level of, like, commercial appeal that those other guys do. LeBron and to a lesser degree Steph are stories, like, by breathing, and that the commercial attachment that you have to that, and the fact that, like, the Magic are probably going to sell out when the Lakers and Warriors play their one game on here each time because of those 2 people. I don't know that you could say that for a whole lot of other people, particularly people that are 35 plus in the league.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But I'll
be curious. I wonder how old Kyrie Irving is, because I think he still has that appeal for whatever reason. I know he's a show. I know he's, people love to see him play basketball when he is playing basketball. But I think he's a guy still worthy of a max, and of course he just got it.
I don't think he's worth a max at all. Because you have to look at him a different way.
In a different way.
You have to look at him and say the reality is he does not. But pure basketball, he doesn't play enough. He misses too many games to be worth max money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on it. I think it's close enough to where it's not Looney Tune for a team to give it to him. Is what I'm saying.
I do, because I think I define Looney Tunes as, will you regret this decision before the contract runs? And I 100% think they will.
I don't think so.
He won't play 50 games this year. He probably won't play more than 50 or 55 games any year of the contract. That alone is a disqualifier for me. And then he's Kyrie. He's weird. Like he'll do and say dumb stuff throughout the year that are going to create a story, and he's never going to lead your franchise.
Yeah,
it ain't happening.
I hear you. I wouldn't be excited if my team did.
That should be the litmus test. Yeah. Like, some things you got to go by feel.
Yeah,
and put yourself in those shoes and be like, okay, if the Sixers just did this, am I happy, or am I like, what the hell did we just do?
Yeah.
Let your gut tell you what's right and wrong.
Yeah, but I think a lot of some of this also is the way Klay plays. The one way players are the guys who excel later in their careers, at a better rate. The 2-way guys, man, is so much. It's so hard on your body. If that's your claim to fame, if that's what makes you great, you just have a shorter window of playing. It just is what it is. I mean, like, even though LeBron was a 2-way player, as anybody with 2 eyes can see, for the majority of the season, he just takes defense off. I mean, he just Literally.
as he's aged.
As he's aged.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So he's become a one-way player as he's aged.
But that's also why it doesn't make sense to pay almost any of these guys. And the reason I said LeBron and Steph is purely for commercial reasons, not functional basketball reasons.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, you're not winning a title when your best player is a one side of the floor player. You're not.
You're not. I still think LeBron still can do it in spurts, and that's what.
But those spurts are currently so brief that they can't win a series
against a really good.
Yeah, I mean, win a series that you need to win.
Yeah, that you need to win.
And that's the thing. Like, he wasn't good enough to win the Denver series.
A game in the Denver series.
Yeah, but I mean, like, clearly wasn't good enough. Like I mean, he couldn't even turn a game or two, let alone win the series. Yeah. I mean, there's no more gear that he can turn to get to that place.
Yeah.
You know, can he for a spurt play, good defense? But the days of him when he was with the Heat, locking up prime D Rose, locking up KD, those are long gone.
Yeah.
Those didn't make it back to Cleveland. For real.
No, but as you said, the commercial appeal makes them. Most of these guys, like you said, man, they're just not worth a supermax. It'll cripple you, man. Yeah. We saw what Russell Westbrook did for his teams. Now Russell Westbrook is on a minimum contract. You know what I mean? I mean, he's the same guy from a year ago.
I weirdly respect Wes for that.
Yeah.
I feel like, hey, I mean, like, he's telling you, I love to hoop.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's telling you.
I think
James Harden is telling you the opposite.
Yeah.
You know.
Westbrook struggled with it initially, as all the greats do. I mean, Melo eventually got it. You know what I mean? But after the league shunned him out, but it happens with those guys, man. And I think it's just the players, I know they see, because these franchises have billions. These owners are fucking billionaires, and they look at it as, man, you're a billionaire. You can give me a few $1 million. I'm still this player, but it's just not how it goes in salary cap sport. You can if you're not that same level of player, it can really hurt you. I mean, Kawhi is another guy. You know what I mean? They're all over the place, man. Another storyline here, of course, is we still on the Wemby watch, and seeing how that will unfold. He didn't play in the last preseason game, I don't believe. It's just going to be really interesting to see how the season unfolds for Wemby. He just looks so fucking good, man. Yeah. He looks like he's gonna fit the bill.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I go back to the JJ Redick podcast, like how he talks about things. It's very real.
Yeah.
It's very level-headed. Again, he's 19 or 20 years old. He's not the oldest dude in the world, but he has kind of like a wisdom to him that's pretty amazing. And that, like, when you're rooted in the right stuff, like, you're gonna be successful. Like, if injury doesn't do you in. And there was that thing, I think we shared it to each other with Giannis. Like, I guess some Bucks coach was like, "Hey, I think you could be a Nick Batum player." And he's like, "If I'm a Nick Batum player, I'm going back to Greece." Yeah. Like, but that's true. But you always felt like. There's that one crazy, like, it's like a grainy video of Giannis talking, like, when he's like, feels like he was like a kid before the draft, like, about how he wanted to be a star. And, like, that's burned so deeply into him that ambition, that drive, that desire that's there, it's captivating, man. Yeah. And that's why he's done that. And I think Wemby's got a measure of that. I mean, we're going to see how much, but I think he's got some of that. And it's pretty special stuff.
For sure. I want to read a couple of Just Black comments. He's saying James Harden has always been more trouble than he is worth. He found a way to manipulate the rules and balloon stats, and the league has adjusted. He also says you kind of got to pay Clay. He's a part of the reason Golden State went from $875 million to being net worth of $8 billion.
That's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like in economic terms, that does make some sense.
Yeah.
But the problem is the sports is what have you done for me lately? Are we winning, and can we win? And there's a part of Steph, and he might love Clay, he might not, I don't know. But like, there's a part of him that's probably like, yeah, I don't want him to pay that much, because that just means we'll have less all around.
Yeah.
And that's not ideal. I mean, if you're truly competitive, you're kind of like, nah, I want to be in a situation that has as much flexibility as possible.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the new deal. They're really, really, really hurting teams now that want to go, beyond the cap, and I mean, almost to the effect you really just can't do it, and so yeah, you can retain your players and keep them, but the price is just going to be fucking insane.
Yeah, and I've never been a fan of the luxury tax or any of these punitive measures. I prefer like the European soccer model, where there's very little financial restriction on anything, and you just go build the best team. I want to see the best team. I want to see players be able to function in the right environment.
Yeah,
and I want things to like, hell, I mean, pay Clay whatever you want, whatever you feel is fair. But if you bring somebody else who's actually better at that moment, give him the job, And if Clay wants to move on at that point, then look to trade him. But I mean, as a team, like you could say you have an organization, and we've had this great realm of success, and our value's gone from whatever $700 million to $8 billion, whatever. That's all great. That's big business. It's finance. It's cool. But the product on the floor. That's kind of sacred to me. And, like, that's got to be about winning.
Just look at last year. The Lakers who couldn't win a game against Denver, like, they outplayed Golden State. And I mean, they really outplayed Golden State. It was a mismatch on the floor.
No, well, it was a mismatch. It was a bad. It was a bad match. It was a Styles make fight type of bad match.
And Clay was not good enough to make a difference in that series.
Yeah,
I mean, he was maybe the fourth best player in that series.
Even go back to Sacramento.
Yeah,
like you never felt Clay.
No, you never felt his presence.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's where it was.
And
that's the reality. That's not gonna reverse itself.
No, man.
It's going to continue to be.
It's going to continue to be, and say for whatever. Say maybe Clay can come out and really have a successful year this year, maybe a little better than last year. The max, look at 2 to 3 years down the road when you're paying this guy $50 million a year. 2 years down, just 2 years from now. That's going to be a horrific deal.
But
have to pay him.
And that's what
3 years down the road, $60 million.
That's the same point I made about Kyrie.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe he's really good this year. Maybe he plays 70 games. But if it's a 4 or 5 year deal, or whatever the thing, by the end of that, and typically the way that's structured is it goes up every year.
Yeah,
it may be like 45 and 48 and 52. Like by the end of that, it's just it's a straitjacket. It's almost like one of those medieval torture devices, that you say, hey, back in the day we used to do this to people. Like that's like what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
You have to, I mean, whatever your value of your franchise, this, that, and the other, if they're going to have punitive rules, you have to play and manipulate those rules in your favor. And, you've got to make roster decisions that are in the best interest of the team.
You know who's becoming lost in the conversation?
Who?
My guy Luka.
Didn't make the playoffs last year.
Like
that was the scarlet letter for him.
What can happen to Luka in his career if they continue to have struggle with team success? You have the Kyrie over there with his new deal. They didn't make a ton of
moves.
They got Christian Wood is out of there. What can they do? I mean, not what can they do. I mean, my question is, what happens with Luka if the team's success continues to struggle? They had the early kind of success when it kind of surprised us with the Western Conference Finals run.
Yeah.
And it kind of has been a decline ever since as far as team success.
Yeah. No, and that will reflect poorly on Luka. At the end of the day, this is about winning.
Yeah.
And when you're as talented as Luka is, and there's this feeling that you're really the guy, and it's not without some justification. I mean, he's an amazing player, but if you don't bring in team success, you become Justin Herbert. You do.
I don't think not that. That's different.
You do. Let's just say for the next 7 years, the peak prime of Luka's career, they don't get out of the second round. What's his reputation going to be?
It depends.
No, it doesn't depend.
It does.
If he goes 7
let me
years
finish.
without getting out of the well, you can rebut this, but if he goes 7 years without getting out of the second round,
Yeah.
he's going to be like the guy that can't get it done. That's who he's going to be.
Well,
known
yeah, I
as.
mean, yeah, that's all good. I mean, yeah, that's just a moniker, a guy who can't get it done.
It's not just it becomes
But-
your
but-
legacy. Like you're that guy. You don't really win.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate you being a great player. You know what I mean?
But you're down a tier. You're down.
I don't know.
You are. You're for sure down.
Down what a tier from what being the best player in the world? Just being a tier down
You're
from that?
You're out of that discussion. You're out of that like the top 5. You're maybe,
No, that's BS.
If he goes 7 years in the peak of his career,
Embiid just went 7 years.
And
Embiid
never
went
got out of the
Embiid
second
went
round.
8 years without getting out of the second round.
really.
But yeah, he's never been out of the second round. We've never been out of the second round. But he's top 5. He's winning MVP. That's what I'm saying. If you're winning MVPs, Embiid just went the last 2 years being the scoring champion. You know what I mean? Even Shaquille O'Neal, didn't do that, averaging over 30. No center has done that since Wilt Chamberlain. If you're dominating, and it's clear that your organization has just been shitty. Dallas is just not. Look at the players he put around them, and then we could see on the back end they made a mistake with Jalen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look who they put around him. So if he could the problem with Luka just last year is he didn't have the dominating season that we had been used to seeing Luka have. I'm just assuming that if he gets back to his dominating ways, but they don't get out of the second round or whatever, you're still going to be a great player. Like Barkley was losing, but he was a great player. We look at Charles Barkley as, damn, he was a really great player.
Yeah, no, I'm not. He's not. Yeah, but Barkley again is he has a lower ceiling. Like his value in the game is different because he's not a champion.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, people will put Kevin Garnett over Charles Barkley, but Kevin Garnett was not a better player than Charles Barkley. He just wasn't. But just because he has the one fucking ring with five All NBA players, you're the winning guy. I hate that, man. I hate that we can't separate. This guy has a much better team than this guy, but we're gonna say this guy is better because this guy won. I fucking hate that. Because there are better guys on other teams that just don't have the fucking team.
But we literally just took the opposite side of that argument when we were discussing quarterbacks.
What? Justin Herbert misses throws and is a different quarterback in big games. You know what I mean? Like and we can already identify he has a strong team around him. He has a number 1 receiver. He has a tight end, as a top 5 tight end. He has a good offensive line. He has a top 15 defense. He has a team. You know what I mean?
No, but the question is, I mean, at the end of the day, do I think Luka's going to go the next 7 years without getting out of the second round? No, but for a couple reasons. Number one, if it gets that bad, if it gets a couple years into this, he's going to leave. He's going to leave, and it'll be right to do so. Good players, great players should not be held captive by ineffective organizations. And if Dallas can't get their crap together, Luka should leave.
That's the one good thing about the NBA. You could do that. NFL, not so much.
Yeah, I
NFL,
agree.
so much,
I agree. So that's definitely, I don't really see that happening. And I don't love a lot of the moves they've made lately, but I do like Mark Cuban. I think he's willing to try to do things.
Yeah.
And even the Kyrie thing, I mean, it didn't work well last year, but I thought like he probably looked at it and it was like, yeah, let me go swing for the fences here. I'm going to go do something. I'm not going to sit on this roster that's decent, but we're not winning.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a genuine attempt to go for something bigger. And so I think that's a big part of it.
I forgot Seth Curry went over there. That was a
Seth.
good reserve pickup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
So we'll see where they go. I
But the
can't.
West, I mean, the West has a feeling that it's very tough, and that's like and
Which
that's
has
the
been
thing
different
is
for the
you-
last couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, I mean, you look out there and you have the defending champions, and you
Denver.
have the Golden State's not going to pass away and die.
No,
Like
Golden
like
State's not.
Phoenix
Phoenix is getting
made
a
some huge
bug.
moves. The Lakers, they're controversial, but they're not garbage. I
OKC
always
is a good, strong young team.
OKC is in the young rising team. Sacramento was the 3 seed,
Sacramento.
and they didn't have any losses.
Sacramento.
The Clippers, again, they're never healthy, but if they are, what's going on? And then you get down and you start talking about a team like Dallas,
Yeah.
and okay, well, where do they fit? And it's, you don't.
Memphis.
Memphis is another one, yeah. And they were a team that, like, when they had the Warriors series when Ja got injured like 2 years ago, like, it felt like they were the next team, like maybe knocking at the door. Maybe, like last year they beat the Warriors, and maybe they're that team that comes out of the
And then
West.
guess who's been playing in every single preseason game? Zion.
Oh yeah, that's another guy. Yeah,
You got the Zion thing. So
I mean him healthy and Ingram and
CJ.
CJ. Yeah, I mean that's another team. And Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's
For what
not
it's worth.
completely there.
But for what it's worth, I mean, you have to mention them.
There's
'cause-
not a lot of bad teams.
No, it's not.
Like, that's
no,
the thing.
no,
You
no,
go
no,
down.
no,
I mean,
no,
like
no.
I mean,
Even Houston swung for the fences in this offseason. I mean, they made moves.
no, I like what they did.
You know what I
really.
mean? They
Yeah.
made moves, and that was a bottom tier team.
They were a bottom tier team, and they seemed to have like no culture moving in the
Yeah.
right direction. And they went out and they made moves to get guys that are hard nosed, that are tough minded,
including a tough, hard-nosed coach.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed coach.
and then bring that in. And so that's a team you look and see. Maybe there's some progress to be made. The West is tough.
The worst team in the West has a all-time generational type player in Wemby. That's the Spurs.
Oh, the Spurs! Yeah, we forgot all about that.
That's the worst team.
I mean,
in the
and
West.
even the Jazz last year were good for a little while.
Yeah.
Like,
Jazz
Yeah.
are solid.
I mean-
and then Portland. We'll see what Portland can do. I mean, they have some good young pieces over there.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of rebooted on the fly and gone young. So that's that's
So West is tough, man.
yeah.
Much tougher than the East this year.
Yeah.
Last couple of years, the East have been stronger, but this year, the Wizards, they're going to be horrible. The Bulls are going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Charlotte is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Indiana, I just don't like them. They'll get to 30 wins or so, but
Yeah.
that's a bad team. Detroit, horrible.
Yeah.
What? I just went through 5, 6?
Yeah. There's some bad teams.
Bad teams, man. Atlanta, I'm not a believer. Again, they'll get to 30, 40 wins. They'll get to like 40 wins, but
Yeah.
nothing there.
No, there's way more teams that like. In the West, it feels like almost every team is either good or they're potentially on the move.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite in the East. There's just a lot of teams that just don't seem to have a direction, or
And-
they're in decline.
And my God, man, did Pat Riley get raped this offseason, man? I mean, no condom. He just bent over and just really, they went to town on him. And I feel sorry for the old man. I mean, they got caught holding the bag.
It was like prison showers.
It was like a prison shower, man.
Yeah.
Because everything they did this all season was with the mindset of, we're going to land a big fish. And Dame wants to come here. We're going to get him.
Yeah.
I don't have to re-sign Strus. You guys can go and get your money elsewhere. The other guy,
Yeah.
and so you don't even retain your two main guys who kind of helped roll the ship, and they didn't replace them. Like
they added
there was nothing
like
left on
nothing of
there was,
value.
because they waited so long.
Yeah.
The market everyone had already signed.
I mean, the only thing that you could look at and say like maybe something positive is if the Jovic kid develops.
The Jovic kids develops,
like,
and then
like,
you get.
and I
Hero
don't know.
back.
I mean, I don't know if he's developed, but like that's the thing.
And then you get Hero back for what that's worth.
Well, he'll be a hero, but yeah, I mean, like they weren't without him all year.
No,
so,
no,
I mean,
no,
like,
no,
that's
no,
just,
he
just
was there
like,
for a majority.
Yeah,
of
but I'm
the
saying
time.
like the only or I guess you just have the vague notion that the Heat might find the next Duncan or Strus, some random guy that ends up being a functional NBA player that nobody knew about. Like,
if I'm a Heat fan, I don't want to depend on that.
Nah, but I mean, in a lot of ways, you've depended on that for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, it's just not good.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat's just getting old and lost with the times.
That's 1,000%.
Once again, get rid of old people. No, they do
You
need
can't
to
be
be
stubborn, man. You gotta pay the freight, man. Pay the
Yeah.
freight. Just pay the freight.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
That's really the thing. Like when you decide, okay, we're gonna be a big player, be a big player. Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Pay more than you have to. If if you just get it done. Don't come back empty-handed. And I mean it's a big decision, but I mean being bold is not a halfway enterprise.
Right.
It's all the way.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. Let me see. I think he said Kevin Garnett was absolutely better than Barkley. See. Then he said, we've seen this Luka movie before. James Harden to a lesser extent. Westbrook. These players just simply don't win. And then the last one is, what do you guys think of the new in-season tournament they announced? The mid-season, they didn't just announce it. They've been talking about it for a couple of years, and of course it was a part of the agreement and things like that. I don't think this is going to work. Of course, the play-in tournament has become successful, and that has worked, and we want to see it. We love to see it. The problem with the in-season tournament is, essentially, they're trying to get people and the players, really, the players and the teams, to care about the regular season.
Right.
So they're going to create this in-season tournament and create a champion and all of that. But, really, then people are going to look at it, well, that's just a in-season championship. Like, what does that really mean? How can you create how can you create LeBron James, 5, 6, 7 years ago, he had this thing where you say, it's like, I'm chasing ghosts, right? Yeah. And I'm chasing something that I'll never obtain because you guys will never give me a title. So those guys, Jordan, Birds, Magic's, like, they don't have any in-season championships. If fucking, Luka Doncic racks up 7 of these things, are you gonna say, hey, Jordan,
weigh him at the same level as titles? No. But I'm not as cynical about it. I'm really not. And maybe it's because I kind of I focus so much on international soccer, and so in soccer, like the best teams, like you're playing your country's league. You're playing in the Champions League, which involves all the European countries. And then each country has single elimination knockout cup tournaments that run all concurrently. And I'm not saying that like certain cups are not as valuable as others and this and that, but I do think it's going to be something that some people dig into and be like, oh yeah, let's go win this thing.
Some will.
Yeah, but it's not going to put, like, again, it's not going to replace NBA championships as a thing on a great player's resume. But I do think, will it be compelling to watch? Probably. And what you're going to get, I mean, teams are competitive. There'll be some teams that, whatever the relative health or resting guys are just going to be in a phase where they're not really going to go for it. But they may be teams that are capable of winning the title. But there's going to be other teams that say, go for it. Remember when Phoenix went in the bubble and reeled off a bunch of wins before they actually kind of got good? Like, that was the beginning of that. Like, I'm a big process guy. And winning becomes a habit. Yeah. But winning becomes like a habit. And I do think what you'll see is a lot of teams that are in that lower tier.
The Orlando Magic.
They're going to go for that.
This is going to be their championship.
Could be, but the thing is it becomes, when it's done right, it becomes a building block. Because after the bubble, the Suns go to the NBA Finals. Like, and they've been basically an in the mix team.
This is much, much, much different than a bubble situation. I think that this, in the NBA, you either have the players or you don't. So the Orlando Magic can rack up 30 of these fucking in-season championship games. If they don't get the fucking players, if they don't get the top players in the league, which they haven't had since Dwight and Shaq, they're not going to win anything.
No, I'm not saying teams without players are going to win this.
They are. I do.
I don't think teams without players.
I think that the lesser teams are going to take this in-season tournament more seriously, and they're going to win it.
Here's my question though: the in-season tournament games, do they still count to the 82?
No,
they don't at all.
I don't believe so. That's a good question.
Okay, that's
but
a
I don't
huge
believe so.
dynamic, though.
That's a question for Juan or Google.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
no,
totally sure.
if they don't count it, well, I can't imagine that though, because they wouldn't agree to play more games.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think they're going to count toward the 82.
Yeah.
If they count toward the 82, that does justify like most of the good teams are going to play.
Yeah.
But what I'm suggesting though is that like winning that is going to be a lighter task, obviously, than winning the NBA title. You're not going through a gauntlet of best of 7 series against the best teams in the league. I do think that that if you're a team on the come up, it is a stepping stone. It's something that you can achieve that sort of verifies. And like, let's go back to like Memphis, like 2 years ago, like when they're kind of starting to be that team that talks crap at people and whatever. Like that's the type of team that might lock in for a week or two or however long this thing is and win. And the reality is, and the point I brought up Phoenix is that maybe that gives them a little extra confidence, a little extra drive when they reach the actual playoffs.
So the all but 2 games will count. So there's 2 extra games, which is like I guess the game before the championship and the championship.
Okay.
So the teams that advance, they'll end up
They will
playing
play
2
two
extra
extra
games.
Okay.
Everyone else it counts towards the 82.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Look, the last thing I'll bring up here on the show is what's more intriguing to me is this All-Star thing that they're talking about. So
What's that?
So Adam Silver came and he was talking about how they're talking about changing the All-Star game format to make it more pleasable for more pleasing to watch, more exciting to watch. And so his thing is most likely they're going to change it back to East versus West.
Okay.
Most likely. But what they're also tossing around is the idea of USA versus World. I think that's more appealing than East versus West, going back to East versus West.
Have they done that in the rookie thing already?
Yeah, that's what
The
they do in
World
Ricky.
versus US?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they do in Ricky. And I think it'll be more competitive if they do it that way. And versus if you go back to East versus West, I think you should do like figure out some kind of way how baseball does it. The winner, the winner gets it's something about the winner of the All-Star game and the baseball gets some additional. That side gets an additional whatever playoff. I don't know, home game, whatever. It's something like that.
Do they get a home field advantage in the final?
Something. So I'm saying automatically the winner versus East versus West.
Skin in the game.
Find a way to put some skin in the game if you're going to go East West.
Yeah.
But I think the way to go is USA versus World. If the numbers match up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, again, I think coming out of the disappointment of the World Championships, it's kind of a hot thing, and even I remember we talked about probably a year and a half ago, like when there was a lot of stuff about the international games harder to score in, and I think Giannis was quoted as saying like he'd take the Euro top 5 over the American top 5. Mm-hmm. So no, that's a hot thing. I think it's trendy. I think it would be really a good idea.
Yeah.
But it's players' buy-in, man. They got to take it serious. And if they don't, you're kind of like trying to get blood out of a stone.
I know, but I think you force them if you do it one of those ways. So
yeah, I mean, you're trying to tap into some base level of pride that's like, hey, I want to win this.
So let's see. Last year, let me see. So you would have had Kevin Durant. Well, he didn't play; he was hurt. So let me see. You would have had Ja Morant, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Devin Booker,
LeBron,
Rudy Gobert, LeBron.
Rudy's foreign.
Rudy's foreign? Okay,
Rudy's French.
take Rudy off. Zach, Chris Middleton,
Okay.
Murray, Draymond.
Okay. Do you have Steph in there?
Steph, LeBron,
Oh, okay.
DeMar. These are a lot of Americans. Hold on. So yeah, I've named about 11 guys.
So then you would
Harden for what it's worth.
So then you would go with like Jokic, Luka, Rudy, you'd Giannis.
Giannis.
Who else are we talking about?
We're talking. Then you would have went also with. I'm looking at the list now.
Maybe the Wagner brother.
Hold Did we say Embiid?
Nobody's declared for Team USA.
Not that part. Just world. Period.
Like that becomes controversial if you're doing this.
No, he goes to the world. I don't think he should have went to Team USA in the first place.
I agree. No, I disagree. I think it's a perfect decision.
No. Towns.
What other team was he going to play for?
France.
France has all these tall dudes. And I'm not saying he's not, it's not that he's not better than them. The team, like his role to the U.S. team is a natural fit.
My problem is USA doesn't give a shit about Embiid. They don't. Okay. They don't. Y'all don't. And that's my problem. And I wish he would have saw that. They shit on him every chance they get. They talk about him, about how much Jokic is better than him, how fucking of a loser he is. They share the crying memes. I never hear any positive reaction people have to Embiid. Even when I used to talk about Simmons all the time, Juan would say, well, what about Embiid? He's not doing this. He's not doing that. People don't care for Embiid's play in the USA until they can see they don't have a fucking center in the whole United States of America. Then they want Embiid to come. And that's bullshit. And he shouldn't have went there. And I wish he would have fucking saw that and somebody would have gotten his ear, but whatever. I don't care where he went.
I'm happy that he went there, but I think you do make an interesting point. That, like, if you go back to like the beginning of his career when he first started playing, he was like super funny, and people really liked him. And somewhere along the road, like he has lost public favor
because people got on him about being too funny. Oh, you're not serious enough. You're going to go down. That was the origin of it? You're going to go down the Dwight train. Yeah, you're not serious enough. That's why you're not winning. You're joking too much, and you're doing this. You know what I mean? And you can't win. And when you can't win, don't give them favor. Don't help them. Fucking seek and destroy them. That's what I wish he would have done. And I think if he would have went to France, France would have had an awesome chance to defeat USA. And if you remember, even a few years ago, I predicted that in this upcoming Olympics that France would beat them, but I was banking on Embiid realizing that. Yeah. And going there. I
just think with Wemby and Gobert, it's not a great fit roster-wise.
I don't care what it is. I know how vulnerable USA is, and especially with Embiid over there. You figure it out. That's what you have coaches for. Gobert shouldn't play much anyhow. What is he doing playing over Wemby or Embiid? You sit his ass down. He comes in reserve and play reserve minutes. Yeah. I think Embiid and Wemby would be awesome together.
Those two could be, yeah.
Yeah. And you bring.
Hey, let's not lose sight of the fact that I am wearing a French jersey right now.
So yeah. But yes, that has been our time here for this week on the Bench Podcast. We'll see who we got coming in next week. I got quite a few people trying to get on here.
Hopefully a star.
So we'll figure it out. No stars just yet. We'll get it done.
We're out.